Friends, thanks so much for tuning in. You know how much we appreciate it. We're going to turn our attention back to cryptos today with a skeptical eye. We have on the line Kent Lewis, who has created the website freedom.social. We have so much to tell you. And one thing I want to say is that I don't know ultimately what the plan is of the bankers as it pertains to Bitcoin, but Kent believes the bankers don't want to destroy it. They want to control it. And we're going to have that conversation right now. I know a lot of you listening probably agree with that thesis, and many more of you do not. So let's have the conversation in an effort to find the truth. Kent, how are you?
Good, Sean. How you doing?
Not too bad. Thanks for joining us. Why don't you tell people just a little bit about yourself very briefly, because we don't have that much time. We've got about 25, 30 minutes, and we have a lot of stuff to get through. So tell people a little bit about yourself, a little bit about freedom.social, that new platform you're building, and then we'll talk about how the banks want to control Bitcoin as you see it.
I've been in software for about 25 years. My background includes real estate-related software. A participant in the invention of real estate transaction standards. I've also been in payment processing with my companies processing over $1 billion in payments. And when I heard your interview with Lynette Zhang, I took a step back and I kind of looked at things, and I took her research a couple steps further, and I discovered what I believe to be factual information of what central banks and countries are doing specifically with digital ledger technology.
All right. Well, let's flush that out a little bit. You know, there's still some pundits and some talking heads in the space that are very pro-crypto people that like to make fun of that particular conversation I had with Lynette and say that she's completely off her rocker as it pertains to AC chain and their goal to digitize hard assets onto tangible assets onto the blockchain. I think she's done some interesting research in that area, as has David Dubine. What have you found to be true as it pertains to what she was saying about AC chain or otherwise?
Well, I am pro decentralized cryptocurrencies. Okay. The issue is Bitcoin professionals tend to focus on the decentralized nature of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and they don't focus on what central banks and countries are doing with digital ledger technology. And Lynette is correct. Countries, specifically here in the United States, at the federal level, at the state level, and at the county government level, they are adding tangible assets and commodities to centralized blockchains, and they're using standardization. So you can Google ISO.org digital ledger technology or blockchain, and you will find that the International Standardization Organization is currently in the process of creating standardization for the blockchain for every conceivable industry on the planet. And when this is done, they will be able to go to Blockstream, who is in fact, without question, controlled by the Bilderberg Group. And they will say, Blockstream, you can register at our regulatory agencies to make payments on centralized blockchains. So therefore, the decentralized nature of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies is irrelevant, because when you're making a transaction on a centralized blockchain, they control the data for the asset or product or service. And then at that point, they'll be able to modify the user interfaces to charge taxes, worldwide taxes, carbon taxes. And that's a fact. It's an undeniable fact. And what I want to do is I want to work with the cryptocurrency community to create a technological approach to circumvent what these central banks and governments are doing. And we have, in fact, done that with the 1776 token and with the freedom.social platform.
Well, now, wait a minute. Before we go there, because now that starts to sound a little bit like marketing, and I'm excited about that platform and what you want to tell us about all that. But let's focus on the banks here before we get to any solutions, because it seems to me that what we're up against as it pertains to these criminal big banks is a big, giant problem, that the advent of the blockchain and the miracle of cryptocurrencies is not necessarily going to solve. And I just want to read something you posted me, and I want to flush it out just a little bit. Kent wrote this. Banks do not want to destroy Bitcoin. Central banks and countries worldwide are in fact in the process of adding all tangible assets and commodities to centralized blockchains using standardization In the USA, the federal government, state, and county governments are adding assets to centralized blockchains. After this is done, the IMF and countries will be able to create regulatory agencies to have decentralized cryptocurrencies register, make transactions on centralized blockchains. From here, worldwide carbon taxes can be charged. I want to just say this as it pertains to the big picture. Deborah Tavares will be coming on the show very soon, and we're going to talk about that NASA war document that she cites from quite regularly. And we're going to be talking about the Internet of Everything and the plan of the Rothschilds and the Agenda 21, Agenda 2030 plan, as you're aware of, Kent, to herd us all into big, giant, hellish cities and to make the rest of the country off limits to humans. That's part of the Agenda 21 plan, guys, and I don't think it's going away regardless of cryptocurrencies. So let's flush that out. How do you think this is going to be used to meet those Agenda 21, Agenda 2030 goals?
It's all part of Agenda 21, 2030 agenda. And, it is irrelevant who invented Bitcoin. What is relevant is what they are in fact doing. I wrote a report called The Central Bankers' Evil Blockchains. And this report is for peer review. It's available on freedom.social. And, you have to be aware, you have to have information, you have to be informed with areas like Agenda 21 and the UN Agenda 2030, because it all does go hand in hand. And, the only way to circumvent this is with a technological approach, and having either private marketplaces or decentral marketplaces that do not participate in centralized blockchains. Because after the centralized blockchains are done, they will in fact be able to go to any one of the 1,400 cryptocurrencies in the exchanges today and ask them to register at future regulatory agencies to make transactions on centralized blockchains. Now, guys, we only make up 1% of the population. I'm referring to the cryptocurrency community. 99% of other people will go and utilize cryptocurrencies that have registered to make transactions on centralized blockchains. So you will not even be able to go to the grocery store without purchasing products that are on centralized blockchains. And we'll be in a cashless society, and you'll be able to pay with a credit card or with your phone or with a chip in your hand. And it is, in fact, inclusive, wrapped around Agenda 21 and 2030.
You make a very good point. Most of the population is not involved in the cryptocurrencies, and they don't understand them at all. So I think your point's a very good one, and if we look at that 1988 cover of the Rothschild Economist magazine, the prediction was kind of exactly what we're seeing now, which is a rollout of the general acceptance of a digital currency. Ultimately, they called theirs the Phoenix, and that article said, when it comes, be glad it's here. And they want to, as we know, Aaron Russo told us, the goal, what you just described, is their goal. They want to chip us all. They want to move us to a cashless society. And they want no pretense of privacy whatsoever. And you wrote in your document here, quote, it's all about one world government, a cashless society, implementation of Agenda 21 policies, and population reduction. Again, exactly what Deborah Tavares has been talking about. And she gets into the directed energy weapons and the geoengineering and all of that stuff. These fires we've been seeing in California, which are beyond suspicious. And in fact, there is quantifiable evidence to suggest directed energy weapons are being used out there to create those fires and depopulate those areas like Sonoma. And people won't be able to rebuild because the insurance companies will not back the new homes being built. So you're on your own, so nobody's going to rebuild. If you hear any of the stuff Deborah says, and she's so smart, it's going to leave you feeling quite desperate. So how do we beat these people? I know you've come up with this freedom.social and your 1776 tokens, and I like the idea of using their technology against them. Let's use cryptos for good. But my God, this is a maniacal plan, And if Trump doesn't take these people down, it spells doom. It spells depopulation for the planet.
It does. And when you really step back and you look at the facts of solar radiation management and vaccines and the GMO foods and the Fukushima fish and these fires going on in California. We designed the Freedom.Social platform to be an umbrella platform for organizations and groups to cross-pollinate different members or subscribers to make a difference within all these different areas in which we're talking about. And it's we have FreedomTube.social that is similar to YouTube. And what we're trying to do is just inform people and educate people with factual information, and then unite to come together to make a difference and to stop them from implementing this agenda and stop. I believe, when you look at everything, Sean, it is a pattern of soft genocide against humanity.
Absolutely.
I live in the mountains in Colorado, and I go out some days, and it's like Chemtrail Tuesday. And I often post on the Freedom platform, I'm like, I don't see how you people cannot understand that this is microfilaments of aluminum and barium and other metals, and it's ruining our ecosystem and getting into our brains, and your family are breathing this stuff. And, if people will just wake up and unite and take action, until people start taking action, it's going to continue. And one other thing, I've been having some pretty long, detailed conversations with G. Edward Griffin. And, he, in my view, he is the ultimate expert on the central banks, having wrote the book, Creature from Jekyll Island. And he agrees with my report, with my assessment, in order to circumvent what is coming down the pike with cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology, is to have private marketplaces and decentralized marketplaces that do not participate in centralized blockchains. And we created a market called FreedomMarket.Social that's a worldwide marketplace. And it's also where you can create local marketplaces, but we've got bartering. And we believe that the U.S. will come out with the Fed coin as soon as this year. As you know, Martin Armstrong has said that they are going to raise interest rates like no other time in history. And my theory on that is they're going to allow the Federal Reserve note to decrease down to near zero value, and then they'll come out with the Fed coin, and they'll say, hey, we can save the day. And that's just not something that I'm personally interested in participating in.
No, me either. And I want to just circle back here and talk a little bit about what's going on in the big picture here, because you're right. The Fed coin is being worked on by the Federal Reserve. That's public information. And of course, it stands to reason that, for those of us sitting on the sidelines here, sort of armchair quarterbacking this thing, we're like, oh, yeah, of course, the Fed, they're late to the game. They want to come up with the Fed coin. That's not going to work. But again, your point's a good one. 99% of the general population is not involved in the crypto space, and they're just going to gleefully jump on the bandwagon to just about anything the powers that be roll out. And that's why, again, this Deborah Tavares interview I'm going to be doing, I think, is so gripping. She talks about smart meters, 5G. She talks about the utilities around the country being under the control of the Rothschilds. Specifically, I think she mentions PG&E in California, under the control of the Rothschilds. Why do you guys think they put these smart meters on people's homes? And then these homes start on fire. Again, these directed energy weapons. This all sounds insane, but it is a part of a plan to depopulate the United States. We need to be aware of this stuff. We need to start organizing, and we need to fight against it. And if Donald Trump is actually going to drain the entire swamp, he needs to get down to the very bottom where he's going to find the Rothschilds. All right? These people need to be stopped because they have a hellish vision for humanity. All right, so with all that said, I'll turn the floor back over to you as it pertains to anything I just said and these 1776 tokens. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yes. The Freedom Platform is designed to expose the New World Order agenda. And anybody that is concerned, that wants to get involved and take action, please join www.freedom.social. And yes, we designed the 1776 token to circumvent what we believe the factual information of what central banks and governments are doing. And we created 177,600,000 tokens, and we're giving 10 free tokens to 10 million people. And the reason we're doing that is to make the decentralized token unstoppable. And we're also wanting to create as large as blockchain as Bitcoin. And when we go to the exchanges in March, we should have a very decent valuation. And as time goes on and these political and geopolitical events unfold and they announce the Fed coin and it becomes apparent that they have in fact created centralized blockchains, then the 1776 token is going to become very appealing because we've got our own marketplace, worldwide marketplace, local marketplace, in which people do not have to participate in the control system.
Yeah, that's very good news. And, I hope it works. Like I've said, as it pertains to cryptos, Kent, and all of you listening, I think a lot of people listening know this. I think that there are many crypto companies and cryptocurrencies that have been created out there. Not even the currencies, but some of these companies that are coming up with their own infrastructure. For instance, EOS and Dan Larimer's project. Dan Larimer's the brains behind Steemit. I love Steemit. Guys, follow me over there on Steemit at SGT Report, and I post everything over there as well. And Dan's a very smart guy. Dan's not in the pocket of the banks. So there are many, many good projects happening in the crypto sphere. And I just want to say that. So there are good ways to invest money and make money in the cryptos. I also advise owning physical silver and gold. But look, I think the bad news here for humanity is, Kent, that if these banksters are able to achieve this dream of taking us into a cashless society and controlling all money and tracking all transactions. We know they want to do it with the Internet of Everything. We know they want to chip every living thing, every tangible thing on this planet. If they get that dream, I don't think gold and silver are going to do us much good.
Well, number one, they're already doing it. I have wrote a report that just proves what they're doing, and I would invite Dan Larimer to download my report, "This Central Banker's Evil Blockchains," and it's when this goes down, I believe what they've done is they've further utilized their divide and conquer tactics, because half of America will not want to participate in the control system, and the other half will be all in and will be further divided. But that's what they want. Their motto is control out of chaos. And when you look at at all of the the mainstream fake media in which they utilize their propaganda and they utilize their Zelensky divide and conquer tactics on everybody, that's what along with the depopulation strategies, I believe that they're going to intentionally try to collapse the entire world economy. Every country in the world that has a central bank has been running a large budget deficit since 2008. They have amassed very large debt. They've paid with it through quantitative easing. And I believe what they're going to do is every country in the world will have their own country-specific cryptocurrency and country-specific blockchain. And I believe the IMF will have their own specific cryptocurrency that's tied to the SDR. And the only thing is I don't believe that they anticipated on Trump getting elected. And that's about the only savior, that we really have, that and uniting and informing people and taking action to what is in fact occurring around us.
I think that you're right about Trump to the degree that they didn't have a contingency plan because they didn't think he'd win. I do agree with you there, and he is the great disruptor. Now, what I think we all need to do moving forward is, as he is continuing to do many, many good things, like get us out of the TPP and get us out of the Paris Accord, and do all these things that he's done, which actually are anti-Agenda 21 moves that Hillary would have never done. We can look at our cup as half full, but we also have to now keep our eye on the big picture, the globalist, bankster, Rothschild big picture, and make the president aware of these other policies that have us concerned. So I'm going to round out the conversation by telling people this isn't fear-mongering. This is a rally to action. This is a hope cast. We all still have power. We're all still free. We have a free internet. We can communicate. We can march in the streets. We can do whatever it takes to prevent this Agenda 21 globalist nightmare from occurring. And we need to. Tweet to the president directly. He's actually accessible. Hillary would not be. So we do have some hope left in our cup. So I'm glad that we have somebody like Kent Lewis out there fighting to try to do the right thing. And as it pertains to cryptos, do check out those 1776 tokens. How do people get their own free token?
Sean, they just go to www.freedom.social and create an account, and there's a wizard that will pop up, and people will be able to claim their 10 free tokens at that time. It's pretty simple.
That's awesome. How do people get to FreedomTube? Do they get to that through freedom.social?
Yeah, we do have a front-end website. It's freedomtube.social. It is part of freedom.social. And, we've got over 30 YouTube channels posting there now. We do promote the SGT report videos. You've been getting quite many new fans over there. So I hope you don't mind that we promote you, Sean.
No, thanks. I'll have to check that out and start my own channel. So like Steemit, if I go over there, I can start my own SGT report channel on FreedomTube?
Oh, yes. And you get independent media gets free IPTV where you can broadcast from satellite or IP camera or PC, or you can have, like we're doing right now, this interview via phone. You can actually have screen sharing, and you can have up to 8 people live on the screen at the same time. So right now, as we're discussing what about freedom.social or about geoengineering or any topic, subject matter, we can actually, as we're discussing it, we can show it live and illustrate and demonstrate. And the reason we did this was to be able to inform and educate, because of all the different fake news out there in which the mainstream media is putting out. We created a platform to be able to recruit and inform and educate, and then most importantly, unite and take action. Because people, if we do not unite and take action, their objective is to reduce the population down below 1 billion people by 2030. And they are in the process of doing it. By 2030, 1 in 2 children will have autism. And it's just not acceptable. It's not right. And we need to do something about it.
Yeah. The word for it is absolutely horrifying. I give you 2 words. It's horrifying. And you're right. You're absolutely right. We are absolutely under attack. And thank God Hillary didn't get into the White House, because it would have been absolute game over. So guys, we have a life preserver. Unite, take action. This is our chance. So do visit freedom.social, sign up, create your own account, and claim your 10 free 1776 tokens. Our guest has been Kent Lewis. Kent, thanks so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. This was good.
Sean, sincerely, thank you for having me on. And everybody, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thanks so much for listening. We very much appreciate your support, as I think you know by now. A special shout out to our patrons over at patreon.com. You're really making a difference for us. You're keeping us in the game, and I just thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. And finally, check out thelibertymill.com, where we curate real news from a variety of trusted alt media real news sources every single day. So that's real news 24/7 for you at thelibertymill.com. All right, Ken, thanks so much. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, guys. Thanks so much for listening. God bless.
The evil of this, the satanic nature of the pedophilia that's going on, and the combination of the Satanism with the pedophilia is going to be shocking to the average American.